There are many who have no idea that they have everything they need to make charcloth in their home. We're going to create a charcloth tin. Then we're going to cook charcloth in the tin that we create. What we're going to need is an ordinary can, tin can. This one contains green beans. We're going to need some tin foil, aluminum foil. We are going to need some cloth, 100% cotton. I'm going to use some washcloth. Everybody has an old wash rag. As long as it is clean, it'll be fine as long as it's 100% cotton. Now, one thing I wanted to mention too in this is some people who know me have noticed my chin whiskers. I'm growing some chin whiskers. I asked my wife, "How do you like my chin whiskers?" She handed me a mirror. I thought it was very rude, but she did advise me that I was being, I have heard more things more rude, and I would be hearing some more things in the future that are even more rude. Let's get on with the video. I have here a can of, it says cut green beans. This can of green beans has a little tab on the top where you can pull the tab and take the top off. That's a plus on our charcloth tin, because when we do that, it leaves this pretty smooth, so it won't cut you on the top there. Anyway, when we remove the top and consume the green beans, the tin will be silver. This is the can after it's had charcloth cooked in it, and it's turned black. And the reason I'm showing you this, it's already been cooked, is because after I cooked the first batch of charcloth in here, the charcloth was fine, but it had some kind of a crud or creosote or something around the inside there that I had to wipe out. I guess it's something that the inside of that can is lined with. Now that I have our can that's been burned in, so to speak, notice the lip of the can is it's not real, it won't cut you there. So that's a nice can. Next thing we're going to need is our cloth. I have here washcloth. I cut this washcloth into 3 pieces. It is 100% cotton. It will not work unless it is 100% cotton. And there are 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take this washcloth that I have cut into 3 pieces and stacked up. If it is not 100%, it will not work. Now use 100% cloth, 100% cotton cloth. Now we'll roll that fairly loosely, not real tight as I could get it, but I'll roll it up so it'll fit in that tin. And I have something that looks like this. Now this rolled up like this, hopefully, when it cooks, the smoke residue can be a problem with charcloth. Smoke residue, I don't know how it goes about, but if it's sticking in here like this, I'm going to say that the smoke will go up through this way and have less smoke residue, or hopefully 0 smoke residue, instead of going like stacked up this way. The smoke would go through about 10 layers of cloth and probably get smoke residue in there somewhere. Now let's place our 100% cotton cloth into the tin, like so. And there it is in the tin. The next thing we're going to need is aluminum foil. I have here a heavy-duty aluminum foil. I've already shaped it on the can just to save time. Just put it over there and rub it down, and you'll have your can, the top sealed up. Notice also it doesn't cut the aluminum foil so bad with that pull top for that tin. I have that piece, and to make sure, I'm going to put another piece on the bottom. This will pretty much ensure that when my charcloth is done, I can peel this aluminum foil off and my can will be clean underneath it and I can keep my hands reasonably clean. Next, we're going to need a hole in the top of our aluminum foil, the top of the tin, so that the gases can escape when the cloth starts to heat up. Now, I did this hole with a ballpoint pen. I just stuck a hole in it right there gently and just turn it, push it a little bit, and I'll get my hole about 1/4 of an inch. It's about 1/4 of an inch. You can see the hole by the size of my ballpoint pen. That's about that big. Next, we're going to cook this charcloth. Let's continue with this baking pan. It's about 14 inches. Well, you can see by my hand. It's about 14 inches by 10 inches or so. We're going to make our fire in this pan. You can use a frying pan or anything you might have, and we're going to do this a little different from everybody else. First, I'm going to put my tin can in the baking pan. I then have some paper here, some paper towels. I'm going to put this around my tin can just for kindling to get my fire started, something that'll burn easy. Notice I have my can sitting on the bottom of the baking pan. There will be no flame on the bottom of my tin can. I will build the fire up around the tin can instead of building my fire and putting my tin in the fire. I do not want any flame on the bottom, cooking the bottom of my tin. It'll get the bottom too hot. The charcloth will often be crispy at the bottom or something. So I build my sticks up like this and get my fire going. We will continue outdoors. Okay, I have my starting to stack my wood for my fire. I have this grill thing in the backyard, and I sit my roasting pan in the grill thing. Control of where the fire is. You can set your pan on a couple of concrete blocks or whatever you like, whatever you have. You can use a pan or a cookie sheet or an old frying pan or anything. Notice I do not have anything that will be underneath the tin can. I do not want any fire under the tin can. I'm going to now stack my fire and start it. Okay, now that I have my fire going pretty good, I put a little charcoal lighter on there before I lit it, just to advance the cause a little bit so I can make sure I get this done before it starts raining out here. And should start some smoke flame coming out of the hole in the top of that tin can where the hole is in the aluminum foil. And notice I did put some more wood on the fire, got it burning good all around the tin can. The gases have started coming out of my tin can and it has ignited at the hole where you can see the flame coming out of the hole. It has a pretty good flame. Now here's a tip. You want to do this when it is perfectly calm. Do it late in the evening when there's no wind blowing, because that flame coming out of the top, when it gets very small, the wind will blow it out and there will still be smoke coming out of the hole, but you can't see it very well. So when it gets, if the flame goes out because of a little breeze or something, I can relight that that gas that's coming out of that hole with a match. Another tip, while you can see the flame very well, it's a little bit smaller now, but another tip, that flame coming out, if that hole were too small, if I just pricked a little pinhole in the top there, the gas would come out the hole, but the hole wouldn't be big enough for the gas to come out of it well, and the gas would be coming out of that hole and you could hear it blowing like a blowtorch with the flame on it. So you want your flame not to be blowing like a blowtorch where you can hear it. So that hole is about a little over 1/4 of an inch, I guess, maybe 3/8 or something, and so we'll be. Now you can see that flame getting smaller and it just went out. I'm going to light it with a match, relight the flame. It actually relit on its own before I could get the match up there, so it's getting smaller and smaller. Flame went out and I don't see any smoke coming out, so I'm going to stick a match over there and see if it lights back up. And it did. I saw a little bitty flame. Maybe you can see that little bitty flame. It's coming on and going off. That tin is pretty much done. Now, another tip. I have some tongs here on the ground. I'm going to pick that can up with the tongs, and I'm going to place my can in that little pan I got right there. It'll cool it a little quicker because I got some tin foil in there and something to just sit it on right there where it won't be sitting on the ground or something. Took my tin out, it's sitting in that pan. I'm going to put this little rock on it. I got a little bit of water in that, so I can balance that rock. Now, I got it covered up on top so there can't any air get in that top hole so easy, because if you open it up this quick, the charcoal inside will be so hot that when air hits it, it will ignite and you will have an ember and you will maybe burn up your charcloth. Do not open that tin. Do not take the aluminum foil off until it is well cool. I'm going to say 15 minutes. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. I opened, took the tin foil off my tin. I'm getting my charcloth out. It's black now. It's the washcloth. It's black now. Let's see if it'll strike, and then we'll unroll it all and see what we got. Starting to get dark. Have a very small piece of charcloth that tore off of my what we just charred. I have a very small flint, just a flint flake really. Have a 2-finger striker, very small. I like a small striker, have more control, and I like to hold it this way. Some people can hold it this way. With 2 fingers, much more control. Let's lay our charcloth on top of our flint. And I got some of those little hairs hanging off the charcloth. One thing you have to know is when this charcloth, if it catches a spark, hopefully on the first strike, the spark has to, the ember has to stay there. If it goes out, the charcloth is not good. If this ember lights up one of these strings and quickly goes out, it is not done. Let's try it. That was the 3rd strike. There's my ember. Let's blow on it. All right, it's doing very well. Okay, notice how small a piece I'm using. Let's see if we can, I'm going to try to put that out and do it again on the other side. This is the way you can practice. Just use a small, very small piece of charcloth. And I always recommend a small striker. Let's try it right here. Give me a spark not hitting my flint real well. Let's try it again. Not on a sharp point. Let's try it again. Alright, there's the spark. It's taking 3 to light it. Uh-oh, let's see. I like for it to light on the first one. Let's try it again. And there's the second one. Uh-oh, that one went out. Now notice how that one went out? If a lot of them do that, that charcloth is not done. We can put it back in the cooker. 2 strikes, looks good. And there's the charcloth spread out. That's that wash rag. It was about 11.5 inches when I started long. Now it's 9 inches long each piece, so you can see how it's shrunk. And this is my can. I had it in just to show that. And I'll be testing a couple of very small pieces. You can see where I cut about an inch out of this one right here to test a couple of pieces. And so far it's testing out very well. I'll do a little more testing on this and make sure it's good charcloth. One more thing I want to mention. The charcloth. I cut a piece off to show you this. It doesn't matter if it's washcloth or denim or whatever. When you pull a piece of charcloth apart, if it is hard to pull apart and it's tough, some people say they got tough charcloth. Charcloth is very delicate. And if it's tough or hard to pull apart, it's likely not done. Or it's something wrong with the charcloth. It has some kind of something in it, some kind of detergent or a fabric softener or something causing it not to char well. Now, that ends another episode. The Wild Woodman, how to. If you like this video, you may click like. If you did not like this video, you may click don't like. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time. The end.